Welcome to Slice of Lyme, a podcast by and for Lyme warriors, where we share truth, resilience, and hope, one episode at a time. We are not doctors, and this is not medical advice, just real stories and what's worked for us on our own journeys. This episode is brought to you by Microbalance Health Products. I use their EC3 laundry additive in every wash. Clothes, sheets, even gym gear to rinse away mold, bacteria, and allergens that regular detergent misses. It's gentle, powerful, and a key part of how I keep my environment clean and safe as I heal from mold illness. You can find the laundry additive and more of our favorite products at microbalancehealthproducts.com/SOL. Use code SOL at checkout for 10% off.
Hi, and welcome back to the Slice of Lyme podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Christen, and I'm here with Abby and Callie. And we're here today to kick off a series of a topic that's very important in the Lyme community. Dr. Richard Horowitz talks about the fact that 2/3 of Lyme patients actually are also dealing with mold and mold toxicity. And honestly, our podcast group, all of us are also dealing with mold and mold toxicity. And we've found that in the chronic illness Lyme community that we talk to on a daily basis, the majority of our chronically ill friends that have Lyme and co-infections are also dealing with mold. So it is something that is very prevalent. And we wanted to do a series on mold because mold is something that suppresses your immune system and makes it harder for you to heal from the Lyme and the co-infections. And so in our series, you will find us talking about our experience today, but also other chronically ill friends that will be coming on as guests, as well as doctors that are experienced in the field. So we're really excited to talk to y'all about mold for the next series of episodes, and hopefully inspire you if you are dealing with Lyme and or co-infections, that you also potentially look into mold as an underlying cause to why you may be struggling to get better. So with that, I want to kick it off to Abby and Callie to kind of talk through mold and your experience with mold illness, because I know this one is complex. And, Abby, I know you've been dealing it for years. Callie, you've had some pretty gnarly experiences recently with it. So just want to kick off, your thoughts with mold.
Yeah, I want to jump in real quick and just say I read maybe online recently that it could be up to 90% of chronically ill Lyme patients have evidence of mold toxins. So there's a lot of us out there, and I think the research is catching up saying that Lyme and mold go super like hand in hand. But Callie, we were actually, before we started recording, we were just talking about mold. So I wanted to give my fun fact, but I want to send it back to you and put you on the spot first, because you have like you're in a rental and doing all types of things. And so let's hear it.
Yes. So I think it all started, we moved to, we call it the flood house now, in 2021. And the first weekend we moved in, the plumbing broke. And when we turned on the washer and dryer, our whole kitchen flooded.
Oh.
And at the time, we didn't think anything of it. So we got like all the towels we had and shot back the water. And like mold didn't even cross my mind. And then since then, we're on a hill. So every time it rains, the basement would flood. And we had a big hurricane come, and we had about like this much water in our basement.
Wow.
And that's when we found our mold mitigation company. And that's the first time they came out, and they got rid of the mold down there, which is expensive. But then the big event happened on January 10th of 2025. There was a snowstorm here in Atlanta, and we turned on the dishwasher and went outside with the kids to go sledding. We were outside for hours, and when we came back in, there was just water like gushing through to the basement and all through the first floor of our house. The dishwasher pipe had burst, And it was so much water that we knew we were screwed. Like there was nothing that we could have done. Um, so I texted, like at this point, I'm friends with the mold mitigation company, and I texted them, and they sent some guys out as soon as the roads cleared, and um, they all like discovered mold, and so we worked with insurance, and they got us into a rental house, and the mold mitigation company had to completely gut the basement with insulation because it was black mold that they had discovered. And then upstairs, they gutted our kitchen and then ripped up all of our floors. And then since insurance was moving so slow, mold grew up the carpet to the upstairs. And
Wow.
so we had to rip up the stairs and all the flooring upstairs. And insurance, it's almost 8 months later, and insurance still doesn't have their act together. They're covering some of it, but not all. So we've had to spend a lot of money to try to get rid of it all. And so now, like, I'm in the flood house right now, and I feel better. Like, I used to get headaches and burning eyes all from this mold, probably from the first flood that happened. It probably started growing then. Um, but at the rental house, every time it rains, I hear water coming through the roof to the ceilings. And when you look up at the ceilings, there's all these water spots and they're turning black. And so now at the rental house, every morning I wake up, my house, or my face, not my house, is just super swollen. And I'm always stopped up. My allergies are worse. So we're trying to get back to the flood house as soon as possible, but we don't have a working kitchen. But yeah, mold is terrible, especially in the South because it's so humid. It's hard to get rid of it.
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask you. So yeah, it's humid and we know mold likes the humidity. That's where it feels comfortable growing, right? So they were dragging their feet in terms of trying to fix your home. And so is it because let's just say the AC's turned off, y'all are out of that house, and now the mold, because it's very hot and humid in Georgia, the mold just started slowly kind of growing up the stairs? Is that kind of what happened? And then as they're pulling up the floors, they're seeing that it's leading all the way up the stairs in your house?
Yeah, so at first the mitigation company only ripped up half the floors downstairs, but every time I would come over here and try to clean up, I was reacting so much. And so I discovered the trail of water like going further. Like I started doing like
Ugh.
investigating myself to advocate for us because every time I came back here, I could barely breathe. I would get headaches, and I'm like the mold's still here. So I was able to find a water trail from the kitchen to the rest of the floors downstairs. And so the mitigation company came back out, fixed the rest of the main floor, and then a couple weeks later, I was cleaning up the upstairs. Same thing, like headache, could barely breathe, swollen. And so I called our contractor and I was like, I know insurance probably isn't going to cover it, but I can't move back here if there's mold like in this carpet. So our contractor came and ripped up all the carpet and put in brand new floors. And since then, I feel so much better walking into this house. Thank God.
Yeah. And just question for you, and maybe this is longer term. Um, the pipe, two things. The pipes in your house, like the pipes are restored. Like, do you feel comfortable? I don't know if it's the flood house is an older home, that the pipes will be okay. Like, let's say you run the washing machine again or the dishwasher again, and or if it rains, are you concerned about potential like rain coming back into your basement?
Yeah, so we spent a fortune getting brand new piping to the main sewer line. So I think the piping is good now. It's basically brand new all the way to the sewer. And then we spent a fortune re-landscaping the backyard, but we didn't waterproof the foundation, which is next on our list. So the basement is still gutted. I haven't had them refinish it down there because I want to get the foundation waterproofed before we finish it.
Got it. Yeah, I remember my husband and I were looking at a house years ago, and it had like it was on the bottom of a hill. And the foundation actually was shifting. It had a crack and it was shifting from the water. And I was concerned because I'm like, oh, is the house going to fall down? But also, they were like, you probably should install the French grates,
Oh,
which,
yeah.
yeah. But my understanding, because we were like, well, how much is that going to cost? It's like $40,000, like something like astronomical, because
Yeah.
they have to go under your house and put in these special grates that then the water avoids the house and then brings it out to the street. And so we were like,
Yeah.
it's not worth it to buy this house that you have to install, spend tens of thousands of dollars. For
Yeah.
us, it wasn't worth it. For some people, it's worth it. But for us, it wasn't worth it, where the foundation had already shifted. It
Yeah.
already had been getting, water piling up, but also you have to pay for these French grates that are very expensive to
Yes.
avoid flooding in your home. So I don't know if anyone's house hunting, maybe they want to make sure they avoid that.
Take
Yeah,
notes.
definitely.
Take
Because we
Or that,
spent
yeah,
30,000 on regrading French drains to divert the water like around the house instead of like down and through it. And like hurricanes and stuff or tropical storms, when they come through, we still get water. We kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into with this house, though. It's one of the safest areas in Atlanta, and the schools are amazing. So all the homes are super expensive, but this one was a fixer-upper. You couldn't see it from the street. We knew it needed a lot of work, and the guy it sat vacant forever. So we knew we'd be getting issues, but it turned out to be like every issue, like plumbing, HVAC, water heater, roof. Now it's basically the whole house.
wow.
Um, but for us, safety was more important because at the time we were pretty young and we couldn't afford like a brand new home in this area. So we figured, why not get in the area and then fix it up while we can? Um, so we're not upset about the situation because we're in a safe place.
Yeah.
There's some places in Atlanta that can get a little dicey.
Yeah. Well, no, it makes sense. It's just a matter of what are the pros and cons, and can you afford it?
Yeah.
But us too, like, got into a fixer upper and have had some issues with um mold as well. Um, but do you feel like that could be the root of some of your, because you struggle with MCAS and all of that. Do you feel like that, some of the mold stuff can be the root of what's causing some of your, larger health issues?
Yeah, I think it is. And my cardiologist thinks so as well. But my cardiologist is telling me that I need to wait till I move back here to try to detox and then add foods back because there's no way I'm going to be able to heal while I'm still in that mold environment.
Right.
Um, so I have to get out of the environment first and then detox and then slowly try to add back foods. Um, it's interesting because you see those quotes like you can't heal in the environment you got sick. With mold, I feel like that's the case if you don't address or fix the environment you're in.
Yeah. I saw something, I think that the detox doc had said that she won't treat people unless they get out of that environment, because honestly, what are you doing? You're still adding those mycotoxins into your body. And so
Yeah.
while you're trying to get rid of them, you're not really, because you're still getting exposure every day. So it's not, you know, as much as you're trying to help yourself, you're still, yeah, you can't heal in an environment that's toxic. Abby, I don't know if you had that same type of experience where, you had exposure and then, like, you couldn't heal because you couldn't get out of it?
Um, yeah, I've been in a fight with mold illness on and off since probably 2022. I mean, that's not true because I think I truly believe like I had exposure to mold when I was younger in like my childhood home. So I've had a more of like an obvious fight with mold since 2022. Um, it was at a place I was frequenting often. Um, and my symptoms would get so bad there that like walking was difficult. And I would feel better at home. And it got so bad that when I was going to that place, I would actually have to like use a wheelchair because I just couldn't walk. Like I would be in there for like a minute or two and just like my system was just like, and now we're gonna shut down. And like so literally
Wow.
I would just
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
yeah, it was like using a wheelchair there as needed. I ran an ERMI kit in that place and then it came back super high, like in quadrant 4, which is where reoccupancy of building is ill advised or whatever they say.
Oh, ooh.
Um, but I also ran an ERMI kit in my house and we scored somewhere in the middle. And so we had somebody come out and check it out and they were like, yeah, there's like a little mold here, a little mold there. Um, and they ran some tests and they're like, we're not really concerned about it. And so like it wasn't a big deal. Like again, I felt really good at home most of the time. So we ended up getting our house treated anyways, like just to be safe. And then my major trigger, I tried to like advocate for remediation there. And I have learned that people take like offense to mold. Like when you're like, there might be mold in your building, most of the time it becomes some big like defensive thing. So I just ended up not going back to that place. And literally within like I don't know, 6 weeks, I was, like, back to running and, like, kickboxing and doing all that, and I was like, there's no doubt in
Oh,
my
That's
mind
amazing.
that, like, that
yeah.
was, like, my again, like, our house had some, like, we talked to 2 different companies, and they're like, "We're not worried about this." And I'm like, "Well, let's just get rid of it anyways, like, just to be safe." Um, so I don't ever think the house was, like, the primary issue, and so once I was out of that like certain environment within a few weeks I was like back to like bebopping around and like everything was
Wow.
yeah it was I mean it was like a night and day difference within a few weeks of not going back there.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
amazing.
and then I had like um from like May of 2023 until November of 2024 like everything was fine. um And I had joined a gym in July of 2024. And I mentioned this in the other podcast we did about mental health, but sometime after I joined the gym, I started having leg tingling again. And I ignored it and I was like, it's fine, whatever. And then in October, we passed around a cold at the gym. It was a combat gym. And so we're obviously like in very close proximity with each other. And I just from whatever cold or whatever it was, I started getting very achy and I started getting vertigo. And then I took some time off the gym and I was like, "Oh wow, I feel so much better." And then I went back to the gym and I started having like adrenaline dumps. Um and I was like, something is definitely wrong. And so
Yeah.
the first thing we did actually, I just didn't say anything. I was like, I'll just take time off the gym and detox and it'll be fine. But we were still paying for our memberships. So I was like, okay, I'm going to say something. So I said something and we had it tested. And the gym came back with very high numbers. Again, like scoring in quadrant 4, I believe, if I remember correctly. And my mycotoxin numbers, my urine mycotoxin numbers were double what they were in 2022, 2023. So like
Oh,
it
wow.
was super high. So then I tested my office and that came back. in the middle. So not a huge concern, but obviously a concern for somebody who's sensitive. And then we had our house inspected. And I had a couple people come out to the house and they were like, no, it looks fine, it looks fine. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not. Like I just feel like it's not. So we had this one gentleman come out and he was able to find a leak in our basement. And that like all the other people had missed. And all of them used like
Oh, wow.
um different methods to like identify if there was an issue. And he was the only one that found it. And so we had that part of the basement remediated. We had like the whole basement checked out, but that seems to be the issue. And like, it wasn't a whole lot of mold in the basement. It was like, you know, it was pretty
Oh,
um
yeah.
contained, which was nice.
Yeah.
And so they checked everything out and we had it remediated. And then the gym also got fogged. So they did a fogging and like a deep clean at the gym and they were closed for 2 days. Um and then again, I haven't addressed my office. Like I've never been symptomatic in my office. I've never had any issues there. Um so yeah, I did go back to the gym a couple times afterwards and it seemed okay. I think my nervous system has been so out of whack that I don't yeah, I'm obviously not going to the gym right now, but it's just not fitting for where I am. But yeah, so I had like that really good period of health and then I had that really big mold exposure and at the gym and then also at our in our basement. And I think that what I have learned is that like if my toxin bucket is full, then like this stuff hits much harder. So like I don't think it was just the mold this time. I think like I wasn't eating well. Um I was stressed. I was really pushing my body. I just think in all, my toxin bucket was pretty full and then the gym and the basement kind of like spilled it over.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I feel like that's kind of what happens. Like you have, let's say, Lyme and co-infections, and then you add stress or traumatic event on top of it, and then you add mold or heavy metals or, and then all of a sudden your body just gives out.
Yeah, it does.
So
It
yeah,
builds on each other to where your body hits a point and it's like, "I can't take it anymore."
Yeah. I saw someone say recently like like what's your 80/20? They say like 80% of what you consume should be like non-toxic, so what's your 20%? And I'm like I don't want to have a 20%. Like I do everything I can to like keep the non-toxic as like 95, 98% because in Virginia, like this is a humid area, right? Like not the same as Georgia, but factually I don't know if it's similar to Georgia in humidity, but it's a humid area. And so it's like if I want to keep my toxin bucket as empty as possible in case I'm exposed to mold, then I'm not going to go out and regularly intentionally consume something that's going to uh add to my toxin bucket, so to speak. So that's not saying like I
Yeah.
do everything perfectly. Like I do eat takeout sometimes and I do like use aluminum foil and like whatever. Like my eyeliner is probably not non-toxic, but like I just try to be mindful of like how I'm filling my toxin bucket.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I could relate like when before I got sick this last time, like my 80/20, it was like, okay, on the weekends, I'll splurge. I'll go have pizza and drink and do whatever, have like a really engorging night out or something. And that would be like my 20, right? And then eat healthy for the rest of the week or something. And now, same, it's like, what is my 20? I think it might be some dark chocolate if I'm feeling like I need some dark
Yep.
Feeling
chocolate or something.
crazy.
Feeling crazy. I got to have my dark chocolate. But like cutting out so many things, including coffee. I know there's the mold-free coffee and stuff, but like that
Yeah.
was one of the first things that I was like, let me just cut this out because, you just are looking at what could be affecting you and what's the root cause of things. And, you know, certain things at that point just have to go because like you're saying, like you just don't know where exposures are coming from, or what could be that one thing that puts you over the edge and now you're bedbound again
Yeah,
or something, right? Like you
exactly.
make progress, all this progress, and you don't want to go backwards. So it's like you have
Yeah.
to be very mindful of like what you're putting on your body, what you're ingesting, where you're going, what you're exposed to, like all of that. Because you never know what could do it.
Right. I mean, I think, like, especially for us, I think we're all on the East Coast, right? Connecticut? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Um, like, there's mold everywhere. And
Yeah.
so taking that into consideration, like, I know that there are people who do, like, the big mold avoidance things where they, like, move into their car, go camping out west, or, like, something like that, but for those of us who can't do that, like, for me, I feel like if we can keep our toxin bucket low, then, like, every exposure is not going to, like, knock us off our feet, but ongoing heavy exposures, like, obviously are gonna be an issue, but I think that, again, falls into keeping your toxin bucket low, knowing there's mold in every environment, and then just
Yeah.
kinda being mindful, and, like, for me, I should have listened to my body, especially when it came to, like, the gym situation, because I knew I was having symptoms, and I just chose to ignore it, and so, like, there were little whispers there that were saying, like, something wasn't right, and then the anxiety or the adrenaline became this, like, huge scream that was like, "Well, we warned you, and now you're gonna have a, limbic system impairment, so have fun with that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of limiting toxins, I've gone, like, so far to, like, getting rid of the plastic cutting boards.
Yes,
Oh, yep.
yes.
Same. I have
Yeah,
wood. Yep.
and
Mhm,
then getting away from all the nonstick pans, like, we don't
mhm.
use
Oh,
nonstick pans
same.
anymore.
Same.
So,
Yep.
the greatest time to do that is every time there's Prime Day, I will go look at the non-toxic, like, kitchen supplies, and every time there's
Yep.
Prime Day, I'm buying, like, um, a new nonstick pan or like, just replacing the things that I've gotten rid of so that we can have more options. But we recently did our, like, plates, like, our plates and bowls and stuff, we went
Oh, yeah.
non-toxic with those as well, and, like, the spatulas, and yeah, so every Prime Day, I'm looking for something I can replace with something that's less toxic.
Yes.
Same.
Yeah, my husband thinks I'm crazy because, like, he'll pull out an old nonstick pan, and I'm like, "No." Like,
Put it
forever
away.
chemicals. No.
Right.
Chrissy, so you all had mold in your bathroom, is that what you told me?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it. I think it's interesting to kind of give perspective because I've experienced Lyme twice, right? And in my 20s, I didn't put two and two together on how it related to mold until now, like until this happened again. But in my 20s, when I had Lyme, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, we moved into this little apartment, and where we slept, there was a hole in the ceiling.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah, and, like, black molds, like, clearly coming into the ceiling, into the bedroom,
That's a
but then
nightmare.
black mold in the bathroom, and I was dealing with Lyme, and when we moved in there, it was probably a matter of, like, 6 months, and I had the worst vertigo of my life, like, worst vertigo of my life, that I woke up and everything was spinning, and I went into the bathroom in the shower because I thought if I was, like, in the shower, but there's mold in there, the spinning would stop. I'd never had vertigo before, and it was just, like, horrendous. He had to drive me because I was vomiting, couldn't stop vomiting because it was spinning so bad. He had to take me to the ER, and I don't remember what they gave me, but I started having back spasms, and so then they had to sedate me to, like, put me out. And, we didn't live there for very long. We moved into a better apartment up north further where we live, and that apartment didn't have mold in it. And, ended up going to a naturopath, and they weren't really treating the Lyme, they were treating the mold and the mycotoxins. And after 6 months of doing that, all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I feel better," because I was in a mold-free environment, and all of a sudden it allowed my body to heal. And I think that was the catalyst that allowed me to get into remission the first time. Fast forward to this time, I gave birth and I had taken all these antibiotics, and I just think my gut microbiome was weak. And we had just renovated the downstairs of our home because the upstairs bathroom and the downstairs bathroom are connected, and there was a leak. And it was a slow leak. I mean, we had been living there for like 10 years before this happened. So clearly there was mold, but I think I was healthy enough that it wasn't affecting me. But it was a slow leak, and then all of a sudden the downstairs bathroom roof caved in.
Oh
just
my gosh.
one day the roof just
Oh my
Was
fell
goodness.
everybody
down.
okay?
Everyone was fine. We were just like, oh my God. So, we obviously called and they're like, yeah, you have a leak from the upstairs to the downstairs. And it was mold, and it just caused the whole roof to cave in. So we had to redo the entire downstairs bathroom. But we do get water in our boiler room, which is kind of adjacent to behind the washing machine and dryer. So we did have someone come out to kind of look at the house and let us know. And he had said, like, the whole house is fine. The upstairs bathroom, does get a little moist. And he said under the sink there might be something. So we ended up redoing the pipes under the sink, and I ended up getting a reverse osmosis
Mhm.
filter, but then I still use
Oh,
my
so
Berkey
smart.
filter. So I'm doing reverse osmosis into the Berkey. So I'm like, filter, water,
Yeah, I love
just
that.
in case.
Yeah.
And then he had said, he gave some tips that I think were helpful. So every time we're in the bathrooms, we have an air um, vent. So like that was like number one, always have a vent. It's harder in the summer, but he's like, crack open the windows when it's cooler out, because you can get rid of the moisture out of the bathrooms, because the bathrooms is a hot spot. So he had said, like, open the windows. We have a front loader washing machine downstairs too, which that sucker had so much mold in the inner,
Yeah,
and
it's so gross.
gross. And when we bought the house, that washing machine it ended up crapping out. We had to get a new one, but right away that new one ended up getting that black
Yeah.
mold on the thing. So I'm like, oh, this is a bigger issue. Like, in my head, I'm like, oh, it wasn't just this old washing machine, the new one's getting it. So we had someone come out and replace that. And he was like, you have to leave the door
Yep.
cracked open, because it is like
Yeah,
a
I've heard
breeding
that.
hot spot. So we did that. But in the boiler room, that's where he found like traces of it. But what we were told, now, this could be different when we get our guests on and I'm going to ask these questions, but we were told the internal mold in the boiler room was less than what was outside of the house. So like the external humidity mold of our house was higher than what was in the boiler room. And so we were told, like, then you don't really have to worry about it. You should know that there's some traces of it. But if I don't know if y'all have heard this on an inspection, but if it's less than what's outside, like, it's not that big of a
Right.
Yeah,
deal,
I've heard
I
that.
guess. Okay. So that's what he told us. But we have a dehumidifier in that boiler room, and it runs every day. And he told us to put it at 50% humidity. So at the 50, because then that's lower than what's outside. And every day, I swear, I take that dehumidifier. It's a gallon of water. We have in the summer, a gallon of water that we empty every day from that boiler room into the sink, and then run it again. So there's definitely humidity down there. There's definitely, moisture. But that's what we do to kind of keep the levels low. So like, those are the tips. But so at this point, I don't know. Like, I worry still. Like, is there still mold? Like, is my upstairs bathroom? It was leaking. We didn't redo the upstairs bathroom. We had a plumber come out, and he was like, I think because you fixed it, you should be fine. But I always worry, like, is there still more going on that's just like we can't see and can't smell? The rest of my family's okay, but like I have
Yeah.
more sensitivities. I think it's worth mentioning too. Um, when I started getting very sick, I did the genetic testing, and I have the MTRR genetic mutation. So a lot of people with Lyme and or molds have the MTHFR and or the MTRR. And so mine's a methylation issue with I don't produce enough
Me
glutathione
either.
for the liver, right? And so glutathione is like key to helping you detox out these mycotoxins from your liver. And so when you're talking about this bucket that's filling up, if you have a genetic mutation that doesn't allow you to detox the way a person without this mutation can detox quickly, then all of a sudden your toxin bucket is filling because you have this mutation and you're not producing the glutathione in the way that like you need to kind of get rid of it. So I don't know if maybe the rest of my family is fine and they don't have this mutation, but I do. And so I take glutathione every day to try to help the Microbalance Health Products glutathione that I love. It's my fave. But I take that every day. I take it twice a day. It's 250 milligrams that I take twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Because if I go above that, it gives me like weird headaches. But I do take that because I know that I do need help, like kind of with the glutathione and detox from my body. And again, I don't know for sure. I guess you could never fully know for sure. Though I know, Callie, you renovated your whole house, so maybe you know for sure. But I do worry about that. And
Yeah.
or go,
I
we're in the
feel like
Northeast.
on
We
the
go,
East
yeah,
Coast, like you never know because it's so humid. I mean, sometimes you walk
yeah,
outside and you feel like you're walking into a sauna,
Mhm.
you
yeah.
know?
And that's exposure out there too. Like I walk out our deck, we have a wood deck, and I walk out there and there's like green on the wood deck. And I'm like, well, that's mold. But I'm gonna sit on my deck. It's outside. I don't know. We're in the clean air. Like, am I
Yeah.
getting an exposure? I'm not sure.
So
But
speaking of outdoor mold, I saw a
yeah.
video recently that outdoor mold is happy. And so it's not releasing like these terrible chemicals like mycotoxins. I
Mycotoxins,
can't
yeah,
speak it.
yeah.
Yeah. But the
Okay.
mold that's inside is not happy and it's competing and trying to find ways to survive. And it's secreting these like negative, like
No, I think you're
mycotoxins.
right because my old mold doctor used to say, "Open the windows to your house every day for 1 hour so outdoor mold can compete with indoor mold, and indoor mold will lose." And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know what that
Yeah.
means, but if I
Oh,
have to open the
Yeah.
windows so they can duke it out, I will." Like,
Yeah. I don't know if it's some
yeah.
weird energy thing, but the outdoor mold is happy and not trying to kill us. And the indoor mold is not
Okay.
happy and it's
Okay.
like
Fair.
trying to kill us.
Wait, so Abby, do you open because I was opening the windows, but then the summer comes and it's so hot that I'm like, well, that I don't that then burns up your house. Like then your house is like hard to be in when it's that hot. So do you all do that in the summer too? Or do you because like I like once it starts to cool down, fall, winter,
Yeah.
spring, I open them, but summer that becomes, challenging for me.
yeah.
So I grew up in a home where I don't know if my parents knew to do this, but like windows open, doors open. So I grew up and my home was always like hot during the summers, but I never felt sick. And so I got
Oh.
in that habit of like first thing in the morning, let's open up all the doors and windows, get some air in this house. And then I would crank up our AC to like 80. Well, my husband is not about that life. He wants it below 72. And so he's like, close the window. So like we're not on the same page. So
That's my husband too.
when
He's
he's
always like,
not
because
home, I
yeah.
do it
Oh,
like,
you do it.
and I do it at the rental house too. I'll turn the rental house up to 80 and open up all the doors, exterior doors and windows. And then he gets home and he's like, it's so hot.
Yeah, my husband's like that too, because I'll open the slider door. But also, I think he's concerned because the black flies get in, and then that's a whole other issue. But
We
like,
have a black fly infestation at the rental house right now. It's my fault. Yeah.
yeah, for opening right. So now I'm like, I guess I'll just keep it closed for the summer. But in the back of my head, I'm like, is the mold growing? Do we have mold? Is it growing? I always have that like, is this causing a bigger issue? But I guess you don't fully know. And we had it inspected. So I'm trying to just like trust the process, trust that it's okay. I'm not getting worse. I'm getting better. So
That's what my doctor says. She's like, "You have to go with your symptoms. Like, if you're worse somewhere, don't go there. Hello.
Yeah.
right.
If you're feeling better or you feeling like your symptoms are getting better, then like you don't have to keep like I'm an excessive tester. Like I will test the house over and over and over. I will do my urine tests like every 3 months. She's like, you don't have to keep testing or looking or like trying to sniff. Like if you don't feel good there, don't go there. If you feel like you're getting better in general, like trust your body and listen to your body versus like testing and whatever."
Yeah. I think that's kind of the route I'm trying to go with. But I feel that like the anxiety over testing, like, am I, because I've done that too, like 3 times at this point in the last year, because I'm like, am I are my numbers getting better? Because if they're getting better, that means I'm getting better, right? But sometimes
Yeah.
your numbers get worse because you're able to excrete more mold. And so your numbers getting worse is not indicative of you being worse. It's just indicative that maybe your body's getting better at excreting the mold, where before your nervous system was more dysregulated and it wouldn't allow you to get rid of the mold, right? So it's that hard balance of like, you know, what is happening? Am I getting more exposure? Am I not? Am I, you know, what is the deal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's hard not to hyper focus on it and want to keep retesting. Like, I want the mitigation company to keep coming back out to make sure there's no mold. But you kind of have to, like Abby said, if you're feeling better, like trust that. Because if you
Yeah.
keep hyper focusing on it, it'll just like make your anxiety worse. And I don't know, you might secret more mold into existence because all you're thinking about is mold.
Hmm. Yeah, and, like, you see the
Totally
horror
fair.
stories of people who are like, "Oh, it was behind my wall," or "It grew onto everything in, like, 3 days," or, like, "We had to get
Yeah.
rid of everything," and it's like, you know, that how do I wanna say this? That's gonna happen whether or not we're worried about it. So, like, if your house is in that bad of shape, whether or not you're worried about it is not gonna change the outcome. Like, what changes the outcome is, like, prevention, and
Yeah.
so I think being mindful of, like, for me, I do all types of prevention, right? Like, I open the windows when I can for the hour a day to let the bad mold and good happy mold and whatever mold compete, whatever you said, Callie. Like, I also vaporize the bee pollen. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I clean
Yeah.
with I wipe our walls with vinegar and lemongrass, or I diffuse tea tree
So
oil.
smart.
Yeah, and I wipe the walls, 2 to 3 times a year. And then I
That's every wall in your
every
house?
wall from top to bottom, and I'll even, like, take, the mop and, like, wipe our ceilings as much as I can get.
So do
Um,
you schedule
Wow.
like a wall day? Like, I picture this being like a party, like where you could have friends over.
no, but, if you guys wanna make it a party, I'll send invites and we can all come to my house and do it. But, mold loves dust, so, like, dusting my fans,
Yes,
my ceiling fans,
Oh,
I
yeah.
make sure to dust, like, once a week, and I use, the Microbalance Health Products air purification candles, so, like, I alternate
same.
between those, the bee pollen, and diffusing essential oils. I think the candles are probably the best option, but I like to have a variety. And then I do when I mop and clean and stuff, I use the Microbalance Health Products mold spray. So I clean with that now.
Yeah,
And then I wash my clothes in the laundry additive, especially my towels and gym
same.
clothes. If I go to a gym, I'm like gym clothes immediately in the laundry additive just to be safe.
S So where do you get
And,
the laundry
sheets
additive?
too, right?
Mhm. Sheets, yeah.
Where do you get
From
it?
Microbalance Health Products, they have that laundry
Okay.
additive. Yeah, and it's supposed to it cleans all the mold spores off of your clothing. But yeah, towels, you know, I think because like towels they absorb the water, so you put them in the washing machine and then they're just still filled with like they can easily, I think, attract mold. Or
Oh, yeah.
you know what? Also, and I saw something on this now, wash with this too, the dish towels in your kitchen.
Mhm.
I don't know if y'all do that, but the laundry additive on that, because that is very easily, because again, it's the towel that it's absorbing all this water,
Yeah.
and your kitchen can be a little dirty with the food and all that stuff. So washing and getting rid of mold spores there. I saw this video and someone, I think they were spraying, I can't remember. I want to say hydrogen peroxide, something on it. And all of a sudden their kitchen towel started like having this reaction
Oh
because
my
like the
gosh.
mold was, yeah, you could like see the mold in the kitchen towel. So after I saw that video, I was like, oh my God, I need the laundry additive on my dish towels.
I use it for
Like,
every wash, like, just to be safe,
yeah,
I feel like,
yeah,
again, for me, it goes back to, like, prevention, and also I think it takes us back to, like, when we talked about with Lyme disease, how are we comfortable getting in nature, like, what makes us feel comfortable? I think it's the same with mold, like, what's going to make you feel the most comfortable? Is it alternating between, like, 4 different air purification things a month and washing every wash, every laundry load with the laundry additive. Is it like opening your windows? Is it, you know, shoving a camera behind some of the walls? Like I've done that for peace of mind before.
Oh,
And it's like
yeah.
you just
Yeah.
Oh,
do what you have to do, one to like give you peace of mind and help you on your healing journey, but also to like actually do effective preventative measures. Like that, obviously that
yeah.
matters
Yeah.
too.
Do y'all use plants? Because I started putting plants in every room, and so now my friends call me the crazy plant lady.
So my husband had told me, he looked it up. The spider
Mhm.
plant actually
Yes.
will help absorb mold. So I do have spider plants. I had purchased them before I knew that they help with mold. So I do have them. But then I was reading something recently. If you're not careful with the soil of your plants, the soil can get
Yeah.
mold on it.
Oh, that's
So you just
scary.
have, yeah, so you just everything's like you just have to be careful or be aware of it. But yes, spider plants, I think, I don't know, Callie, if you have other plants that you know are good of, but my understanding is spider plants are really good for mold.
Yeah, I have a couple spider plants, and then I think, lemongrass
Yeah.
is
That's
good.
what I
And
do
then
vinegar and lemongrass when I clean.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then I think there's, I think it's trending on TikTok, English ivy, maybe?
Interesting.
That,
Oh,
like,
okay.
is good? I don't know, when I'm
I
scrolling, I
didn't
see
know that.
crazy things, so but I'm willing to try anything, so I'll probably get some English ivy. I'm crazy, it's just green in every room.
No, I think
No, it's
yeah, right?
good.
You have to, I will say it a million times over, you have to do what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah. And I definitely want to try that bee pollen diffuser that you had posted. I haven't looked into purchasing that yet, but that looked really cool.
Yeah,
To
me
also
too.
help clean the air, aside from the air purification candles that I use all the time, but that looks like a really cool option as
Yeah.
well.
I love it.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, like feeling safe and knowing if you walk into whatever location that you're in, and if your body is starting to get set off, like you need to exit immediately. But um I I don't know if y'all want to maybe give a tip for from your own experience for our listeners having to deal with mold, like what a tip would be that if they're on their healing journey and they're looking into mold and they don't know where to turn, or maybe they're starting, and they're starting to do things for mold, like what would be a great tip that y'all would give our listeners?
Callie, you go first.
Um, I would say, like, if you think there's mold in your home, find somebody that you can trust that is an expert in mold. And luckily I found that, and I've become pretty good friends with my mold guy at this point. And he's going to be a guest in a couple weeks, which we're excited about. But if you think you have mold in your house, find somebody you trust who's an expert who can come help you deal with it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I would say for me, um, ooh, I thought I had it, but I feel like I don't now. Trust your body. I think that there are people who will say like, "Oh, mold's not a big deal." And that's fine. It might not be a big deal to them, but it could be an issue for your body. Like your toxin bucket may be full, or you may have different genetic predispositions. And on the other end of the spectrum, other people might say like, sell your house, get rid of your belongings, buy a tent, and go live in Arizona indefinitely. And I feel like you also don't have to do that, right? I feel like there's a middle ground between saying it's not a big deal and it's a huge deal, get rid of everything and get out. And your middle ground is going to be like what your body says. And so that like tuning in with your body and knowing figuring out what's most appropriate for you. And not that there's anything wrong with buying a tent and moving out west or something. And definitely, but like if that's what speaks to you and that's where you feel like you need to go on your journey, then do that. But don't let anybody like dismiss you by saying it's not a big deal or frighten you by saying like it's killing you or you have to do all of these big scary things. Like listen to your body and figure out what's fitting for you.
I love that.
Awesome.
Very
Yeah, I love that
nice.
too. Yeah, I would say so. My Lyme litter doctor now, he when he gets new patients, one of the first thing he does is he tests for mold and heavy metals, just to see, we know you have Lyme and we know you have co-infections, but are there other things? And I would say if you are starting out on your journey and you now have found out that you have Lyme and co-infections, to talk to your doctor about getting tested for mold and or heavy metals, to see if there are other things that are affecting you, so that while you're on your healing journey, you are aware of your toxin bucket. You are aware of what's actually going on so that you can then move forward and make those changes or look into where it's coming from, and or take the appropriate supplements or do the appropriate diet changes or saunaing or detoxing, whatever it is that you need to do to work through your mold exposure, to help your body heal while you're also healing from Lyme. But I would say make sure you get a test, just to be on the safe side. If you don't have mold, that's great, but I would definitely be on the safe side with that. So anyway, thank you, ladies. This has been a great conversation, and looking forward to our next episode on Lyme with a special guest. So see you then.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with a friend who might enjoy it too. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Slice of Lyme to stay connected. And we would love to hear from you. Send us your questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Don't forget to check out the link in our description to see our sponsors and partners. When you use our codes or links, you not only get a discount, but you also help support the podcast. If you'd like to support us directly, you can always buy us a coffee through the link as well. We are so grateful that you're here, and we'll see you in the next episode.